Hello and welcome to the first episode of Cooking with Kyle. I figured that since Dave's done a couple of these and he didn't get to do one today, that I would show you kind of what I know. So today we're going to be making scrambled eggs with ham in them. Got our supplies here. We have some eggs. We're going to use 2 eggs. And then we've got some pre-packaged ham. We got some butter, some milk, some salt and pepper. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your butter and you're going to put some butter in your skillet over here. And then you're going to turn that on. So, I don't know, maybe about there. And you're going to let that just melt for a while you go over here and you start mixing up your eggs. See, I'm also using the ring stand to balance my phone on here. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. So we're going to crack 2 eggs into the bowl. You're going to throw those eggshells in the trash, and then you're gonna, wipe the egg off your hand because you're not as good at breaking eggs as Dave is, and you get some egg on your fingers. So after you rinse off your hands, you're gonna take your fork and you're gonna kind of mush up the yolks and just kind of beat the eggs a little bit. Get them kind of mixed up a little bit preliminarily, not perfect right now. Then you're gonna take your milk. You're going to pour in some milk, and you use about that much milk, and we'll see if that's good enough here in a minute. And then we're also going to add just a bit of salt and pepper. Yeah, that much looks good. And then we'll start beating them again. Let's get all that egg mixed together with the milk and the salt and pepper. And you should be able to kind of see, if there's not any more, clear places in the egg. If it all looks like it's a fairly consistent texture, then you know that you've beat the eggs, scrambled them sufficiently. Okay, that looks pretty good for now. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our paper plate here. We have cutting boards, but we don't want to use a cutting board because then you get a cutting board dirty, and that's just more dishes you have to do. You take out some of your honey ham from Walmart, and you take, maybe about half of it. That looks good for 2 eggs. Put the rest back in the bag, and you put that in a Ziploc bag for later. Then you get your knife, the same knife you used to get the butter, because, why would you dirty another knife? And then you're just going to kind of slice this ham. Just going to slice it, get it nice and cut up into pieces, smaller than it was. And we're just going to cut it. And then we're going to kind of mix it and break it apart so it's not in big chunks. And we're going to check on our butter over there. So now our butter is fairly melted, so we're going to, swirl it around here. Get it so that it covers the majority of the bottom of the pan. Now it looks like I didn't quite get enough butter. So I'm going to go back and get a little bit more, because I got to have this butter, enough butter to cover the whole bottom of the pan. And then I want to get it up a little bit on the edges as well, because if I can get it up on the edges just a little bit, the egg also will get a little bit up on the edge as you're cooking it. And so the more butter there is in the pan, the more your egg won't stick to it. So we get the butter nice and around the edges of the pan. All covered. The whole bottom of the pan is covered with the egg. Then we're going to go over here and we're going to take our egg mixture. And this is going to be hard to do where you can see. Hold this phone with my chin maybe. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm beating the eggs as I pour it into the skillet. And then, oh, it turned around. You saw me. Okay, so I beat the eggs as they went into the skillet. And then I'm just going to beat them a little bit more because when I put it in the skillet, I can see that there's a couple places that didn't necessarily get mixed up good enough. That's good. That's good right there. Okay, then we're going to go back and we're going to take our ham and we're going to sprinkle the ham into the eggs. Nice and hammy. Get all that ham in there. All right. And then we're going to just kind of let that sit there. I've got it on, I don't know. So I've got this can either do the small part of the burner or the large part. So I've got it set to do the small part because I'm using a small skillet. And I've got it, about there. A little bit more than half. Maybe, I don't know, 65%, 70%. And we're just going to let that sit there for a little bit. So there's my helper. While the eggs are, cooking up a little bit, I kind of clean up my area here, put some things back away, my supplies. Would you look at that? Look at all that stuff I have. It almost looks like a real person lives in this house and eats real food. It's crazy. It's crazy how that happens. Okay, so I decided that I needed a little bit more pork in my life tonight. So I'm not only going to have the ham, but I decided to take some of this already cooked bacon. And so how you deal with this is you get your same plate you put the ham on, because you don't want to be wasteful. And you take out of this prepackaged thing, you take 2 select a size paper towels so that it's double thickness. And you're going to take, I've got 2 pieces of bacon here that I pulled out of this thing. And I'm going to take 1 more because I want 3. I just feel like 3 is a good amount of bacon. So, no, I guess 2.5 because that's all that I pulled out of there. And then you take 1 select a size and you put that on top. Kind of wipe your fingers on the paper towel to get the bacon grease off from the pre-cooked bacon. Then you're going to go over here to the microwave. I don't know. Normally about 30 seconds works, so we do 30 seconds and hit start. Now, our eggs over here, we can see they're starting to get a little bit done around the edge. It looks like we got a bubble there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our plastic spoon and we're going to, kind of fold them, mix them over. This is a little bit harder to do when... Oh, let me get the ring stand and put it over here on the stove. So there we go. Let's try that. So you take, oh, the bacon's done. So we're just going to let it sit in the microwave. It'll be okay sitting over there. So you just kind of stir these around. Make sure that you get it all off the bottom as much as possible so that it doesn't stick. And you're also going to, kind of try to flip it over as you're stirring it. Kind of break it up, make them into relatively smallish size pieces. About like that, maybe. Okay, then we're going to let our egg just sit here and cook a little bit more. Just let it sit for a couple more, I don't know, maybe another minute, and then we'll come back and stir it again. So while we're waiting on the, ooh, I'm caught in my cord. There's my helper again. He's not doing a very good job because he's not holding the phone. So we're going to get the bacon out. And we look at it and we see, ooh, look at that, nice and crispy. Maybe a little bit too done there. But I like my bacon very crispy. I don't want it to be soggy at all. So we kind of dab the only grease that's on it. We're going to grab now a big paper plate because the eggs and the bacon are not going to fit on the small one very well. And we're not going to use a real plate because if we use a real plate, you know, we have to wash it. So we're going to, you know, mix these eggs up a little bit more. Just kind of keep them from sticking. See here, the butter didn't get up as far on the side as the eggs did. So that means that we're going to have just a little bit of a harder deal scrubbing that side of the skillet. All right, so we mix those up. We're gonna let those sit just a bit more. Okay. So while those are sitting this time, I'm gonna come over here to my nice stocked refrigerator and I'm gonna get some strawberries because these strawberries sound good to me today. And I'm gonna, I don't know about this. I'll get that to where you can see it as much as possible. It's a little bit sideways, but I'm still in landscape mode. I just had to turn it to get it to be able to see. So I'm gonna take a strawberry, take my cold water, just run the cold water over the strawberry. And just like I did with the bacon, I'm going to take 2 Selecta-size paper towels and I'm going to lay them over here like this, and I put the strawberry on it. Okay? So now we're going to take another strawberry, just kind of rinse it off a little bit. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Here we go. Rinse off another strawberry. Usually I do about 4 or 5 strawberries at a time. And that's what I do. So now I'm gonna go check on my eggs again. There's my strawberries. I'm gonna check on my eggs again, kind of just keep them from sticking. Mix those eggs up. I'm thinking that those eggs are just about done. Just about done. Okay? So I'm going to let them sit there while I have to put my strawberries up, and I have one more very, very important piece to this meal. This is very important. I'm going to take my milk and I'm going to get my cup. And I'm going to pour me a nice cold glass of milk to go with my bacon and my eggs. Okay, so I think the eggs are done. So we're going to go over here and look at these eggs one last time. There they are, eggs and ham. I'm going to turn my burner off, take my eggs over here, slide them out onto the plate. Well, I don't have my spoon and I can't, let me get the ring stand again. So you can see the presentation. Presentation is very important, as Dave says. I'm going to take my eggs and put them down here on the plate next to the bacon. Now, you could also do this recipe with cheese as well. My mom used to make scrambled eggs with cheese in them sometimes. I prefer not to have the cheese in my eggs. I just like the ham. So now we're gonna take the strawberries, plate those as well. See, that one has, it's not as pretty, so I'm gonna turn that other not as pretty side to the bottom. And there you are. There you have your scrambled eggs, bacon, strawberries, and a nice big glass of milk. This has Cooking with Kyle, episode 1. Enjoy.